Baby bus!
Crime lies hidden in the puzzle, and the truth emerges through reasoning. Detective Stories of Inspector Chimp.
Meeting the Mad Scientist, Part 1.
Where are we?
Raleigh Wee woke up and opened his eyes, still in a daze. He was in an unfamiliar room. Hearing someone snoring, he turned around and looked. Hey, was that Inspector Chimp? The tall, dashing monkey was covering himself with his windbreaker, pulling it snugly around him. He lay on the floor near Raleigh, sound asleep.
Inspector Chimp! Wake up! Wake up! Inspector Chimp! Wake up!
5 more minutes. 5 more minutes.
Inspector Chimp!
Huh?
Rolly!
Inspector Chimp woke up and scrambled away from Raleigh. He put on his windbreaker and pulled it tightly around himself.
What are you doing in my room?
His long tail wound tightly around his body, too.
It's not your room. Look around you.
Inspector Chimp loosened his grip on his windbreaker and let his tail relax. He looked around more carefully. It was a spacious room with a small TV hanging in one corner. A few buckets sat below the TV, but there was nothing else in the room.
This is strange. I was sleeping in my own room. I remember that clearly. How did I end up in this room then?
Inspector Chimp stared at the ground, lips pursed. He was absorbed in his own thoughts. Raleigh couldn't stay still. He stood up and walked to the corner where the TV screen was mounted on the wall. He looked into the buckets below the screen. The TV suddenly turned on all by itself. Startled, Raleigh rushed over and huddled behind Inspector Chimp.
Hello! Can you hear me? How are you? Inspector Charles Chimp. And, your little friend.
My name is Rolly Wee, and I'm not little.
Yes, of course. Raleigh Wee. And a wee little chick is he.
I'm not.
Let's hear him out, Rolly.
Yes, Charlie, that's right. You and Rollo should hear what I have to say.
Well, my name is Charles Chimp, not Charlie. And he's Rolly. But yes, we do want to know what you have to say. Please go on.
A figure appeared on the screen, grinning at them. Inspector Chimp and Raleigh were so surprised by his appearance that they momentarily forgot their irritation. It was a bear, but only half a bear. The other half of his body was mechanical.
By the way, who are you?
The most knowledgeable scientist in the world, an absolute genius, and a most tasteful villain. I'm the Mad Scientist, Ron Barrington! Ta-da!
The bear on the screen tilted his chin proudly and waited for applause.
Applause, please.
After a long pause, he still didn't hear anything. He narrowly opened one eye and peeped at Inspector Chimp and Raleigh. They did not seem to be in any mood to applaud.
Let's get back to business. Chuck, don't you always say you're the embodiment of justice and the guardian of the peace in Sylvan City?
I assume you mean me, but my name is not Chuck, it's Charles Chimp. But you really should address me as Inspector Chimp, out of respect for my office.
Oh, yes. Why, of course. Master Inspector, my good sir.
Well, anyway, I've never claimed to be the embodiment of justice.
But you do claim to be the guardian of the peace, then?
Not the guardian, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I'm a police officer, and like all police officers, it is my job to keep the peace in the city.
Very good, Charlie, my boy. We are in agreement, then.
Franz Barrington wore a mocking expression as he slowly clapped.
Let me test you today and see if you're worthy of the task of guarding the peace. Are you ready, Charlie?
It's Inspector Chimp.
Inspector Chimp stood up and straightened his windbreaker. Then he put on his cap and picked up his magnifying glass and pointed at the mechanical bear on the screen.
Now get on with it. What is it you want to do?
I've set 3 science problems for you. If you can solve them, you can see me in person. Doesn't that sound exciting?
Don't you know that capturing Rolly and me and bringing us here in the middle of the night is a crime? Whatever problems you set, I'll solve them. When I'm done, I'll handcuff you and take you back to the police station.
Come then, Roly-Poly, you must help Inspector Chimp.
The TV turned off with a click. The room was silent.
Inspector Chimp!
Rolly, what's wrong with you? I've never seen you so angry.
We have to catch that dreadful mad scientist, Franz Barrington! And when we get him to this police station, I want to make him write my name 100 times! Rolly way! Make him write it 1,000 times!
Not a bad idea. Maybe he needs to write Inspector Charles Chimp, too.
Inspector Chimp and Raleigh walked to the door and found that it was securely locked. There was a small slip of paper taped to it.
Turn the door green and it will open. Yours truly, Franz Barrington.
Inspector Chimp ripped the paper from the door.
Tricky crook.
Inspector Chimp stood looking at the door, tapping his chin with one finger. His lips were pursed, and his tail swayed on the floor behind him as he thought.
How do we turn the door green?
While Inspector Chimp was thinking, Raleigh busied himself with a tour of the room, looking for a way out.
Inspector Chimp, look!
Raleigh called Inspector Chimp over, pointing to the buckets under the TV. They were filled with paint.
Red, yellow, blue. Too bad there's no green paint. If there were, we could paint the door green and it would open.
Red, yellow, and blue.
A light came on in Inspector Chimp's mind.
I've got it, Rolly. I know how to turn the door green.
Really? How are we going to do it?
Listen carefully.
Inspector Chimp pointed to the yellow and blue paint.
Red, yellow, and blue are the primary colors. All other colors can be made from these 3 colors. We only need to mix blue and yellow together to get green.
Really? I had no idea. Okay, let's hurry and get to it then.
Raleigh poured the blue paint into the bucket holding the yellow paint. Wow! It was like magic. The 2 colors mixed, slowly turning green, just as Inspector Chimp had said they would. When Inspector Chimp and Raleigh painted the door green, it creaked open, revealing a dark corridor. Inspector Chimp clenched his fists.
Just you wait, mad scientist Franz Barrington. I'll soon be hauling you off to the police station.